Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of From the Chair, where inclusion matters, with your host, Nathan Noss. Take it away, Nathan.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. You can actually see my face this time. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But we want to say a special thank you to our guest tonight, which is the Royal Hawaiian from Glow.
Aloha. Aloha, everybody. Thanks for having me, guys.
Oh, and my apologies. I should say hi to you too, Pat. Just to kind of throw that in there.
How dare you leave your co-host out in the dark?
Well, it happens every once in a while.
I'll just let our beloved executive producer deal with you.
I'm sure he will at one point. So, our first question is, who were your wrestling heroes growing up?
Well, growing up, you know what? I wasn't into wrestling. So growing up, I really didn't have any because I didn't start wrestling till I did Glow. So I would have to tell you, since I've done Glow, I'm really into wrestling. So through my brief stint with a Glow and what I've done since Glow has been real exciting, but I'm actually now a real full-fledged wrestling fan besides having worked in the industry. So I would say that I grew up when I was in Glow during the time when it was Hulk Hogan and Roddy Piper and Andre the Giant and Dino Bravo and Ravishing Rick Rude and Ricky Steamboat. So those are all the kind of guys that were big time when I was doing Glow at the time. The Bushwhackers, which, you know, rest in peace, my buddy who recently passed, and Butch. And I was so looking forward to seeing him just a couple weeks ago, actually, the day he passed or the day he got sick. I was hoping to see him that day. But so those are guys that I look up to in our tugboat, you know, just the guys back in those days. And then I look at today, the ones that I just look up to every day and look forward to watching. And my two favorites, of course, if you've never seen me anywhere on social media, I'm a Bianca Belair fan, and I recently got to meet her. And then I'm a Drew McIntyre fan. So I got a broad, you know, array of the ones I do like, and a lot of the guys in Impact and AEW and all those, but those are my two biggies. And so I'm still waiting. A friend of mine that is also active in wrestling is saying he did have a possibility of meeting Drew McIntyre. So that's still one of the things. I met Bianca last year at SummerSlam. Was it SummerSlam? No, Money in the Bank. Yeah, so I got to meet her, and she put me on her Twitter page. We were dancing together, and so it was really very cool. So that's kind of like my favorites, but there's all kind that I'm really, you know, interested in.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Can you tell us how you got to be the Royal Hawaiian?
Well, I was an actress, model, and dancer, and a beauty queen in my younger days, and an athlete. And I was working in Hollywood, and I was pursuing acting. And this was a call that came across my agent's desk, and he worked right across, or I should say, I worked right across the hall from his office in the same building. And he was the partner to Jeff Bridges, who was Todd Bridges' dad. Remember Todd Bridges from Different Strokes? You know, what you talking about, Willis? You know, anyway, his dad was a partner with my agent, Bob Yanes. And so they came and said, hey, there's this audition. We just got a call. It's for a TV pilot. But they didn't say what it was for. They just said they're looking for all kind of girls, all walks of life, all sizes and colors. And if you had athletic background, it would be a plus. So I said, okay, great. I said, I'm game. And I was working in Hollywood so that I could do this. When things came up, my boss was really cool. She was a lady named Marianne, and she knew that that's what I was interested in doing. I was pursuing an acting career. And so she said, when something comes up, go ahead and go. If it's something that comes up today and you want to go, just go, come back, and I could either make up the time, just didn't get paid for the time I was gone, whatever. She was so flexible. So when this one came up, they said, go ahead and go. It was at the Hyatt Hotel on Sunset in Hollywood. So I went, and there was 1,000 girls. So everything you think of: cheerleaders, dancers, actors, singers, models, gymnasts, housewives, whatever you could think of was there. Every tall, short, thin, curvy, large, whatever, everything you could think of. And they basically were looking for 12 characters. They were looking to cast 12 girls for a pilot. And when we got there, 1,000 girls sitting there, there's a ring in the middle of the room, and Matt Simber, the director, and the producer, David McLean. David gets in the ring, and he says, welcome, and you're all here for a female wrestling league that we're going to do a TV pilot for. And so right at that moment, a third of the girls got up and left. And they're like, there's no way I'm breaking a nail. I'm going to get hurt. I didn't ask for this. I came, but I was there because I was pursuing an acting career of some kind. And whatever it would take to do it, I was like, I don't care what it is. And when they said athletic, I grew up between two brothers. So I was a tomboy, and pretty good. My brother used to get digs because they would say, oh, your sister's better than you. And I was the first girl in the San Gabriel Valley here in Southern Cal to play boys Little League baseball in the 70s. And they didn't have girls sports yet. So I played boys baseball, and that's how I started. And so when the wrestling, they said it's wrestling, I'm like, okay, cool. I don't know much about it other than collegiate wrestling, like my friends that wrestled in high school, the guys that wrestled in high school. And so I was just like, okay, I'm here for the ride. Let's see what this is about, see what happens, what they're looking for. And so then they did a little kind of an audition where they said, okay, come on in. They got a few of us in the ring at a time, and they asked us to do tumbling, or can you do a somersault? I was a cheerleader, so I had gymnastic background, so I could do cartwheels and flips, that kind of thing. So we did that. And then they did some full readings, and they had us get in front of a camera and do just an off the cuff, interview. And they said, okay, well, if we said, could you do Royal Hawaiian, what would you do? Or what would you tell us about you? And that's kind of how it started. It fell in my lap. It couldn't have been more perfect. I started dancing at the age of 5. And I started with flamenco dancing, and then I went to hula, and I lived in Hawaii for 25 years. And so it was just perfect. So that's how it started. And they picked 2 of the 12 girls at that audition. So out of the 1,000, they picked 2 of us, myself and Hollywood.
Wow, what an honor.
Yes, very much so. Yes.
I'll make sure he's nowhere near you. And then we'll just remind them.
Can you tell us about your biggest rivals?
Well, the biggest rivals that probably my best matches were with Americana. So that was my first match of the actual series, was the tag team. My tag team partner was Spanish Red, and it was Americana and California Doll. And that's what was my first match, was a tag team match. And then from there, when I went into my singles matches, Americana ended up being my my most popular rival, or everybody says those were the best matches. I did like wrestling Dallas. Dallas was one of the girls that was actually a wrestler before Glow. She was a Killer Tomato. So she was a really good wrestler. And I did also play a second character, which was Sarah, the hooded characters. They were the Hillbilly Girls. And we were Sarah and Mabel, and Mabel was played by Ashley Cartier. That was Nadine. And so a lot of people don't even know that, but I share that and tell them, I say, yeah, I played two characters, which were very different. So I really had to change my mannerisms on how I wrestled, the tone of my voice, because I have a very deep voice, and we kind of talk like this, and we were hillbillies. So it was a lot of fun that we had a ball playing those characters. So.
Well, and that just speaks to your versatility as an actress too. If you can, change,
I thought people would figure it was me, but they didn't. I mean, even a lot of the girls, the girls that didn't work in season 1 that saw the show, they didn't even know that it was the same like I thought people would recognize, the body shape, but I did wear flesh tone my legs were flesh with Royal Hawaiian, and then when I was Sarah, I wore black, so it was kind of disguising, and that was the point. But I thought they would kind of recognize, but nobody did. Even the girls, today when we do shows, I'm like, you guys didn't know I was Sarah? And they're like, no. I'm like, yeah. So that is kind of cool, right? So I guess I did my job, right? So they didn't know it was me. Yeah. So it was kind of funny.
On that topic, I have to ask, because I know she's a legend. Did you ever got in the ring with Wendy Richter?
No, and I've met Wendy at CAC, and if you're familiar with that, that's the Cauliflower Alley Club. We have a convention every year in Las Vegas, and I did meet her there, but I did not, because I've only wrestled with Glow. I was trained by Mondo Guerrero, and then I started the pilot, and then I was the trainer for season 1 with Americana. We actually were the trainers. Once we started the show, we were the ones who trained all the girls from season 1. So
that's cool.
Yeah, so that was really cool. That was an honor as well to be asked to do that, because obviously I guess they thought we were, equipped and we were good enough to be able to train the new girls that we hired. And it was we became part of the production staff as well, working with David and Matt and the writers and everybody on the production crew to, see who was meeting what they were expecting or what they were wanting out of the girls, and who could do a singles match versus a tag team and so on. So it was a lot of work, because we didn't just do our match. And like for me, I did Royal Hawaiian, I did Sarah, and then I also had all the training to do as well. So it was a full schedule for me, but lots of fun, lots and lots of fun, and learned a lot, and had a good time doing it.
How much training did you put into your character?
Training for the character, well, the physical training for the wrestling training with Mondo, we started, I believe it was like the beginning of September, and we trained for about 3 months, because we filmed the pilot in December of 1985. So as far as the physical training for Royal Hawaiian and Sarah, it was that 3-month period. As far as my character, the Royal Hawaiian, they had the 12 characters picked out. And then when we went to train with Mondo, there was about 40-ish, maybe 35, 40 girls that were vying for those 12 characters. So there were other girls there that they had thought could be Royal Hawaiian, some that they thought would be Americana, Spanish Red, so on. And then as we got trained by Mondo and we started learning all the wrestling and seeing what we could do, then that's when they started weeding out the girls and saying, oh, this one doesn't look like she's getting the wrestling so much, or, maybe we need to let her go. Or some of the girls decided they didn't want to do it, so it was, some of it was they were cut because they weren't cutting it, or they didn't feel they could carry on with the character. And then some of the girls did decide, maybe this isn't exactly what I thought it was going to be, and decided to quit. But for me, I was in it for the long haul. I figured, you know what, until they cut me, I'm here to, do as much as I can. And tried to give them, what they asked of us character wise, show us what you can do. And I was going to be a heel. So that was just even perfect. So I was, all into, screaming in the camera and getting the character going. And it was lots of fun. And it pretty much was, they let us run with it. They said, here's, this is your character. This is the name. They really didn't tell me what I had to do. So they just let us develop it as it is. So anything you pretty much see the Royal Hawaiian do, like the shtick with me crushing the pineapples and spitting pineapples at fans and doing all the wild cheating and all that, that was all me, to where everything was done pretty much as is, ad lib, off the cuff. I never had a script. They just would tell me, you're going to wrestle so and so this week. When we do interviews, when you see us in the little bubbles on the episodes and they cut away to those interviews, those were all done basically just go for it, kind of like what you see on TV today when you watch WWE and they're going at it. That's kind of what it is. They just told us, okay, this is your match, but we're going to cut a promo and we need you to just include this and this and, and go for it. And that's kind of what it was like. So lots of fun. It's easier to ad lib or to just cut a promo without a script than it is with the script. But if you ask some, they couldn't do it. So the writers would write them scripts, give those to them a week before. They would practice lines, memorize lines, and then go from there. And for me, it worked the opposite. I preferred just to go live and go off the cuff, and you get what you get, and you don't like it. If you want me to redo or whatever, I'd rather do that, much easier. So, you said originally how long? I mean, immediately, I guess I developed. I mean, over time, I added things to the character, but it was pretty natural because it just fell in my lap. Living in Hawaii, being a hula dancer, having the Hawaiian background, all of that was just really second nature.
Did being an athlete as a kid, also a cheerleader as a kid, did it help you get the role of the Royal Hawaiian?
It kind of broke up a little bit there. I don't know if it froze or not. You said something about being the Royal Hawaiian or getting the Royal Hawaiian?
Sorry about that. Being an athlete as a kid and a cheerleader as a kid. Did that help you get the role of the Royal Hawaiian?
Sorry, it's still freezing.
Okay.
You're breaking up. You said
the question was, as an athlete and a cheerleader
I
as a kid, did that help you get the Royal
I think
Hawaiian
for
part?
sure it had a part in that because I did have the tumbling. It's still breaking up. Did you say, did it help me get the role of the Royal Hawaiian by
Yes.
being athletic?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know if it's froze, you guys. I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I would say definitely
Yeah.
that it did play a part because, for someone who might not have had athletic background, it was probably a lot harder for them when they got into the training with Mondo because, I didn't know wrestling, but because I had the athletic background, I caught on to everything really quick. I wasn't afraid to take to take a hit or to take a bump or what have you. So that I would say definitely yes. And I was a tomboy, so I climbing trees and jumping fences and doing all that kind of stuff with my brothers and things. So it was definitely a plus. I would say along the way, a lot of the different things I did before that had some kind of part in me being able to pull off, going through the training, being able to do everything that Mondo taught us, and then being able to develop the character. So yeah, it did help me get the part, of course, because they could have picked one of the other girls that might have been the Royal Hawaiian who might not have been athletic enough. And they could see that maybe in the training.
And we have a question in the comments from Chris Marble, who says happy birthday week. Happy birthday.
Thank you. Who was saying that? I didn't.
Chris Marble.
Oh, so someone actually is
Yes.
on Facebook Live and said that. Hi, aloha. Thank you for tuning in. I can't see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, great. Yeah,
We're
thank
having-
you.
Yeah.
Today is my
Yeah.
7-day countdown. I took the Roxy challenge. Yeah. Roxy Astor did a 60-day birthday countdown when she turned 60 last year. And so she challenged me to do, I did a 30-day. Coming here and there, I did it. And so this is now the 7-day countdown of the last 7 days of being 59. And I will be 60 on Tuesday next week, the 25th of April. So yeah,
Wow.
So it's going to be a busy week. Actually loaded my week up with different things. So yeah, I've been really busy. So thanks, Chris.
So the reason we're having issues is we're having weather here in Washington. So we're going through like a major rainstorm.
Oh, I was gonna say it's like the closer I am. Oh, okay. Seems like the closer I am, the more difficult it is. I could do an interview in Scotland or Australia, and it's like as plain as day. We're hours and days apart, half days or whatever, and I'm sitting down the street from someone and I have the most trouble with an interview. So it's kind of funny. Yeah, I can't tell because sometimes it looks like you guys, the screen is frozen and then it sometimes not. So I can't really tell, but that's why I'm not a fan of the rain.
No.
So but we'll wing it. I did an interview just a few weeks ago and we had to redo because the sound didn't come out well. So it happens. Yeah. And that's okay.
Did you always know you wanted to become an actress? What other roles did you play?
And I forgot. Did you ask? Say it again. Did I always know?
Did you always know you wanted to be an actress? What other roles did you play?
Here,
I didn't catch that at all.
Let me see if I can try. Did you always know you wanted to be an actress? And what other roles did you play besides the Royal Hawaiian?
You know what? Yes, because I've been an entertainer most of my life. So I started dancing at the age of 5, and between my brothers and sports, and then trying to still be a girl, my mom put me in dancing and modeling and beauty pageants and all of that good stuff. So I had a good balance of all of the different things I could do. And back then, I wanted to do some of the things that girls weren't doing yet because I grew up between 2 brothers. And so I did entertaining and being on stage at the age of 5, and then, went to the modeling and acting and dancing and doing theater and plays. And, I was always from, like, I think the first time I did a play was in grade school, and I played the Tin Man in The Wizard of Oz. And then prior to that, I did some, variety shows. When starting, I think in the 3rd grade, I think is the first time I did a show no, I take it back, because kindergarten, we did, those Christmas pageants and all that kind of stuff. But I did do a show in the 3rd grade where it was a Christmas show. And I actually did the hula then, and we danced to Mele Kalikimaka, which is Merry Christmas in Hawaiian. And so as early as the 3rd grade, I was all kind of thing on stage, and Hawaii has always been in my life. I mean, I grew up, my dad, we have family in Hawaii. And so before I even lived there, we spent summer times there. That's where I grew up on Waikiki Beach, and that's where I learned how to surf and paddle a canoe and sail a boat and get in trouble with the Hawaiian boys on the beach and all that good stuff. So it was in my blood. And basically, you know, as a kid, I grew up on the beach. So it was just bound to, you know, develop into something. And then just all the different kinds of things I did. I was also a beauty queen, and I, you know, rode in my float in the Rose Parade. And I was also Miss Chinatown. Here in Los Angeles, we have a local Miss Chinatown pageant, and so I was in that. And so I had, you know, everybody asked, so what did you do? And I said, you know, it's funny that now I'm a glow queen, right? I had the crown, and so they're like, well, that's really kind of full circle with all of it. You were an athlete, you were a beauty queen, actress, and so I say yes. That, you know, my aspirations were, I wasn't sure what exact area of entertaining, but I come from a musically inclined family. So my dad's family, my grandmother got all of my aunts and uncles. So my dad and all his siblings were all talented musicians. So they had a family band when they were young. And then after high school, or in high school, my dad and his brothers and cousins had a band when they were in high school, and then continued on. And then after we were born, we were their roadies. So I do come from a musically inclined and a family. Evidently get that trait or that talent, but the only way I can carry a tune is in a bucket. I can be in the chorus. I just would not do a solo. So I've done that because I've been in musical theater. So of course you do have to sing. So I have sang before on stage and in performances, but I do not solo. I don't claim to have a singing voice. I would love to. I envy anybody who can sing or play a musical instrument. That's always fascinating to me. I learned the accordion and then the piano, but I don't do that today. So it's something that I've always wanted to do, was play the guitar. My dad plays the guitar. So I never mastered that, but that's okay.
Okay. So before your next question, Nathan, I've got a question that got emailed to me. So thank you for that. This question is from Juan. It says it's April's helper. And the question is,
yes, that's my assistant.
Okay, so the question is, if you like the Birds of Prey in Glow, who would the other 4 wrestlers you'd want?
I only got half of it, but yes, Juan is my assistant, who was a Glow fan many years ago, well, still is, but that's how we met, and he became my lifesaver. So I can't do a show without him because of my back injuries and all my difficulties. So I have a show to do on Monday, which he just told me he's going to be able to go with me. So I'm thankful and grateful for that. But the question was, can you repeat it again? Something about something in Glow?
So if you had liked the Birds of Prey in Glow, who would the other 4 wrestlers you'd want?
Okay, I got Birds of Prey, but I don't know what I know, because Harley Quinn is part of that whole. He educates me on all the, what do I want to say, the superheroes and, you know, all the Marvels and all that. So I'm not sure the question. Something about Birds of Prey and something from Glow?
Okay.
I don't know what the.
Okay, so if you had 4 Birds of Prey in Glow, who would the other wrestlers be?
Are you saying 4 Birds of Prey? And who would they be? Is that what?
Yeah, of wrestling.
Yes. Okay. Anthony's saying yes. Gosh, no one's ever asked me that one. Well, you know, that's kind of a weird. I never really had that asked before. I've had all kind of other questions, but I don't know. I guess one. I have lipstick on my teeth. Maybe Tina Ferrari, Nanuchka, and Jungle Woman. And me. 4, he said, right? That's what it is, right? I'm so bad at all of 4, right? So I guess that if that's a good answer, Juan. I mean, Juan has good questions, and you would think that we're with each other a lot, that, you know, he would ask the same thing over and over, but he doesn't. And he's just such a great women's wrestling supporter. Like, he doesn't care about men's wrestling, and he goes to the stuff because he knows I like it. But he's a fantastic supporter of women's wrestling in any way, any promotion, any of the girls, whether it's WWE, Impact, NXT, AEW, NWA, WOW, you know, UWW is coming. He's excited about that. We just got tickets for that. That's coming to LA in June. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but that's based out of Las Vegas. And so they'll be coming to LA in June. I want to say mid-June, 23rd, 24th, something like that. So, yeah. So he kind of keeps me up to date on the women's stuff that I might miss. And then my women's wrestling buddy, unfortunately, passed in December last year. That was my buddy Sam. And that's been a tough one for me. But he was I call him my wrestling associate on the East Coast. And we were supposed to be spending my birthday together next week. So I miss him, and we were supposed to go to WrestleMania together. He had got us one of the silver packages at WrestleMania, and we were supposed to do that. So between Sam and Juan, Juan is my women's information. You know, he keeps me up on everything. And Sam was just a really, really special guy. And he was my sports connection. So from baseball, which tonight, and I'm sorry, but tonight the Dodgers are playing the Mets, and the Mets were his baseball team. So I took him last year to his first Dodger game at Dodger Stadium, and it was against the Mets. So this week is the Dodger series against the Mets. So I'm sorry, I didn't expect us to talk about Sam, but anyway, and then it just so happens that I'm a big Dodger fan, and he was a big Mets fan, and he's a Giants fan. And so this week is the Mets series with the Dodgers. And unfortunately, the Dodgers lost last night to the Mets, and that was for Sam. So anyway, and you know what? I'm so confused right now. I think I may be even wrong. Are they playing tonight? I'm so bad. It might be tomorrow. It might not be today because they played last night and the Mets beat the Dodgers. So, but anyway, so yeah, so Juan and Sam were two real special wrestling nuts, and I've had a lot of good times with both of them. And Juan in particular is a women's wrestling fan, so he's really excited about continuing to support WOW, and then UWW is coming, and I just took him to Vegas with me last month, and we got to see Impact Wrestling, and he got to see all the women that we got to go to 3 shows last month with them, and got to see them for the pay-per-view, and then 2 more filmings of the Access shows. So we got to see all them. I got to see all the guy wrestlers, and he got to see all the girl wrestlers. So That was pretty fun. And that was his first time to Vegas and first time getting to see Impact Wrestling. So it was a lot of fun. But thank you. Appreciate it. He's always my guarantee. Him and another one of our Glow fans, whenever I'm on the radio or something, the phone lines can be down. I co-host a radio show here in East LA and Los Angeles in Boyle Heights, and our phone lines go down quite a bit. But for some reason, Juan can always get through. So kind of like you guys are having weather there, it would be kind of the same thing. But Juan, like whatever, the gods are always watching him because he can get through anywhere. It doesn't matter where I'm at. I could be doing a radio show in Chicago or Denver. So you guys are having, technical difficulties, and Juan is still able to get through. It's just that connection. So he's just a special guy. So thank you, Juan. Anyway, so I'm sorry, guys. Go ahead. What was your question?
What's the best advice Mondo Guerrero gave you?
Say that again.
What's the best advice Mondo Guerrero ever gave you?
The best advice that Mondo Guerrero gave me?
Yes.
Yes.
I would say, it was that the question? Did I get that right?
Yeah, you did.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Well, I would say, Mondo was a great trainer. I mean, Guerrero Dynasty and everything. But the one thing I always talk about when I do interviews is he always wanted us to pay attention. And when the girls were not paying attention, that was a concern, because if you're not watching or not paying attention to what he's doing, someone's going to get hurt, is what he would always say. Safety first, right? You always got to be concerned with, since we didn't know what we were doing, we were just learning. So one day, a few of the girls were messing around. Someone wasn't paying attention, and he's, giving instruction and this, and that. Not everybody was listening. So he grabbed the first girl that was next to him, put her in a headlock, and the girls still weren't paying attention. So he put sleeper hold, and she fell to the floor. And he tells the story, and we're lucky enough to get him every once in a while to come on with us, our panel or whatever we're doing, if he can get to one of our shows. And he says, she was flip-flopping like a fish. He said, I gave her the sleeper hold and she fell to the floor. And boy, did I have everybody's attention like that, right? And so we're like, yeah, what the heck's going on, right? And he says, well, if you guys aren't paying attention, somebody's going to get hurt. So bad enough that even when we're trained, we know what we're doing. We know how to tuck the neck. We know how to protect ourselves. We know how to fall. We know how to take the bump, all of that. If you're not paying attention or a wrong move, someone's going to get hurt. So in the course of a match and being so active and things that happen or aren't supposed to happen or what have you, there's accidents, so that we don't have any unnecessary injuries. And unfortunately, I did get injured quite a bit, but that day I think was probably the best in to pay attention and to try and be safe. And like for me, I was pretty strong. So when I did lift the girls or I was body slamming or whatever I was doing, I tried to make sure that I didn't hurt anybody, so it might have looked bad, but the girls used to say, oh, I feel so comfortable. I'm glad I'm wrestling you today or whatever, because I know that when you put me down, I don't have to worry about feeling like I don't feel secure, like you have a good hold on me. So that was nice to know that the girls felt comfortable in wrestling with me because they felt I was strong enough to carry the weight and put them down so they wouldn't get hurt. So that probably was the thing that always stuck in my mind with him, especially because it was so visual with the girl just passing out right in front of us, and it was all new to us. So we're like, what the heck? I mean, she was standing 1 second and 2 seconds later, she's on the floor, so we're kind of like, okay, I think I better pay attention, and see what all is into this wrestling thing, because I don't need to get hurt. And even with as much good training that I had, I did, which it's not stuff that happens on purpose, but like I started wrestling barefooted, and I ended up getting hurt before we even did the pilot. It was during one of the promos. We had did a show on the Tom Snyder show, and I was wrestling barefooted, and I twisted my ankle and I jacked it up pretty bad, but it was because I had already had a previous ankle injury, and it's never healed. It's still bad. I had a basketball injury back in high school. So I should have broke it. Then it would have been better to heal, but it was just a really, really bad sprain, and it never got better. So that was my first thing. And then I did my wrist, my fingers, dislocated a shoulder, but my big injury was my back, and that's what did me in. So at the end of season 1 is when I basically stopped, because I couldn't go on. The doctors, suggested surgery and all of that, good stuff if I wanted to get better. So that kind of ended my shtick with wrestling, which is a bummer, because I enjoyed it and I loved it so much that, people ask, even knowing, what kind of injuries you've had and sustained, would you do it again? And I say, yes, 100%. I would definitely do it again, all over again. It was so much fun. And it was just something I just took, like a fish to water, So yeah, so it was quite an experience, life-changing, and something that I'll talk about until I'm gone. People ask, how long are you going to do this? How long will you talk about it? How long will you do shows? I dated an ex-boyfriend that wanted me to stop tomorrow, and he said, well, if I told you to stop doing Glow, you're going to stop, right? And I said, why? Why do I have to stop? So until I can't do it anymore, until you guys stop asking me to do interviews or shows and, things like that, then I'll keep doing it until I can to, tell the stories. I'm working on some stuff now. So trying to do an autobiography, trying to get a second documentary done. We've got some things in the works. Roxy Astor and Sunny the California Girl and I are doing some things, and hopefully we can tell you more soon, but we'll see. Still trying to promote the brand and keep letting people know, where it started and how it started.
Can you tell us a story about Jake the Snake Roberts?
Tell you a story about, I didn't get the last part.
Jake the Snake Roberts.
Oh, Jake. Jake the Snake. Tell you a story about him. Yeah, I've been at a lot of shows with Jake. I just did one the week of WrestleMania. We were in San Gabriel, California, which is the city I grew up in, and I went to high school at San Gabriel High School. Just so happened the venue was in San Gabriel, and it was with EWF with Jesse Hernandez and Chris Masters and, oh gosh, I forget the gentleman, the Latino wrestler. They were the main no, they weren't the main event. No, it wasn't Chris Masters was the main event. It was Chris Masters and Zimbodi were one of the matches, but they weren't the main event, and that was really good. But Jake is great. I was so excited to see him because he looks wonderful. I did a show with him, I would say maybe about a year and a half, 2 years ago in Vegas. And there's a classic picture of him, myself, and Greg the Hammer Valentine. And I'm pretty PG. I don't usually use cuss. I did use a curse word in one of my interviews recently on accident. Oh no, it was on the radio. But I don't usually swear. But if I'm mad, that's how you know I'm mad. Because if I use a curse word, then you know I'm mad. But Jake and Greg the Hammer Valentine, we had a picture done, and we had this finger. we had a picture, and everybody was like, "Hey, I saw a picture of you on the internet of you and Jake the Snake and Greg the Hammer Valentine sticking the bird." And I'm like, "Oh my God." I said, "Yeah, we were having so much fun." I said, it was a show, and it was kind of towards the end. It was the last day, and we were just kind of sitting around shooting the breeze, and we were talking, and Jake was saying, "Dan, I remember you when you were in Glow, and we used to watch you." Because he says, my favorite wrestlers were the Housewives, and they're my favorites, right? And so they were Chainsaw and Spike, and then their other set of characters were the Housewives. And if you've seen them, they are hilarious. So they could have had their own sitcom, okay? And that was my thing. I said they should have had a show on their own because they were so funny. And he said, "Oh my God, I just came on." He said they were so hilarious. And so he was just telling me all about the days when we were on right after them. And he said, "Oh yeah, I used to watch you guys all the time." And Vince used to tell them, "Don't be talking to those Glow girls." And he was so jealous of us, right? And he would tell them. And little did he know that when we were out and about in Vegas, when the show was filming, if there were any guy wrestlers and stuff, we ended up kind of palling around. And the one story I wanted to share with Butch at WrestleCon during WrestleMania week was the two of them came out with a few of us Glow girls one night, and we had such a ball. It was like, you want to talk about being in Las Vegas and going through the casinos with the bushwhacker. These guys were crazy. I mean, you see them, but in real life, being with them, it was one of the most exciting and memorable days in Glow with being with the WWE wrestler was those two guys. And I wanted to see them so bad on Friday. And then that's when Butch got sick. And I was so sad. And then, then when we found out, that his friend came by and I talked to him, and he said, "Oh, he's in the hospital, but he's going to be okay and he'll be fine and everything." And then I saw it, come to life on the internet, and was so sad. But so those kind of stories and memories I have. And then with Jake, getting to see him, just a couple weeks ago, he looked great. He was, no oxygen, no wheelie car, looking fantastic. And he was sharing with me, some of the treatments that he's been having. And so it's just fabulous to see him looking so great and doing so well. And so it was fun. It was fun to see him and, see him in action again and doing, because he had a little participation in the show. And so that was fun. But yeah, he's a great guy. And Chris Masters, of course, to have to say hi to Chris. Pardon?
I'm having some more technical difficulties, so keep going.
Good old Washington weather, huh?
Yep.
I was gonna say, first they had 4. First there was 4. Then there was 3. Now there's 2.
He lives in a nursing home, so he's having technical difficulties.
Oh, no problem. No problem. I understand. Believe me, it's the show must go on, right? So
Exactly.
I'm used to having technical difficulties. This would not be the first time, so no problem at all.
At this time, we'd like to thank our first sponsor, the CARE program. Without the CARE program, this podcast would not be possible. So thank you to Becky Bernhardt. You can find her on Facebook.
Awesome.
So,
thank you, Becky.
The next question is, can you tell us how your finisher came to be?
How my what?
Your finisher
Damn it.
came to be.
My finishing move?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I developed the Royal Hawaiian, and because I was a heel, I first came up with the crushing of the pineapple. So that was where I came in and I crushed the pineapples. I ate it and spit it out at the fans and was all over the place. And then I thought, okay, well, what am I going to do to finish the matches when I'm really just, so I said, I'm going to have to do something where I just, demolish them, have them laid out on the mat. And then I said, I'm crushing pineapples, then let's just do the Hawaiian crush. And I said, I'll climb up to the top of the ropes and just dive. And so like at the beginning of our show, when they're showing the music and the credits of the Glow, and I'm the first thing and I come diving out like I'm diving into a pool, and I just Hawaiian crush and splash right on top of whoever it is. So the first, victim was California Doll in the pilot episode, and that was where I finished her off. She was laid up in the center of the mat, and I just dove off and landed on top of her. So kind of a cool, fun thing to do. Kind of like Nikita Lyons. She's my other buddy, where she does her signature move is the splits, the kick and the splits and the turn and it lands on them. So it's always exciting to have some kind of neat finishing move. So yeah, so mine, we call it the Hawaiian crush. Okay, I'm not.
All right, my favorite snack is cookies. What is your favorite cookie or snack, and what would it be, and why?
That's silly. Pineapple. I love my snack, and what everybody always knows that my favorite thing to have or treat, and Juan is one who we get to do this quite often, is pineapple Dole Whip. And if you don't know what it is, they just came out with it. Originally, they were selling it. I want to say they were selling it at Costco. Now they were selling it at the supermarkets. And it's the Disney is who had it after the original Dole Pineapple Factory in Hawaii. And it's a non-dairy dessert, kind of like a yogurt, but not really. It's a non-dairy one. And it's just, you could swirl it in a bowl or on a cone. And I have two favorite places here in California. And one is only 5 minutes from Juan's house. And it's called Tasty Block Shave Ice. And they do a wonderful pineapple Dole Whip where they put the Dole Whip and then they put crushed pineapple and more Dole Whip and more crushed pineapple. And it's Ono-licious is how we would say it in Hawaii. Ono means good, something good to eat. And then over here by my house is called Hula Tang Shave Ice, and they are in Chino. So they're right in the shopping center with Walmart and Nordstrom. And Chris is the owner at Tasty Blocks, and then Randy is the owner at Hula Tang. And those are the two spots that I go to for, you can have shave ice, or you can have shave ice with a dollop of pineapple Dole Whip on it at Hula Tang. And at Tasty Block, you can have Lampert's ice cream, you can have shave ice, or you can have Dole Whip. So it's the place to go. Places to go when I have guests that come in town. That's either the first stop or the last stop before I take them back to the airport. They have to have Dole Whip. So that's kind of it's not just a coincidence. It's not a Royal Hawaiian thing. It's actually just that is my favorite thing. Besides, I'm a popcorn nut, so Juan knows we go to the movies and my popcorn, lots of butter, and gotta have kakimochi in it. I eat my popcorn Hawaiian style, and so, but that is my thing. And I have people send me messages all the time, and they ask me, where do I go get Dole Whip? I live in such. I said, go on the internet, check for a yogurt shop, or just put Dole Whip, pineapple Dole Whip, and now it comes in flavors, so they do have strawberry and lime and orange, but pineapple is my favorite, obviously. But they do have different flavors, and they serve them in different flavors days of the week. And when it runs out, then they get a new flavor. And Vegas has quite a few. Actually, there is a place in Vegas that my friend CJ in Vegas took me to, and it's called Frank's Tiki Bar. Anyway, it's a bar. It's a regular, and it's a cute, but you got to have reservations. The place is always packed. But they make an adult cocktail, pineapple Dole Whip. It's like in a brandy sifter, and it's rum with a dollop of pineapple Dole Whip in it. It is wonderful. If you want to try a cocktail with the Dole Whip, that's just like to die for me. I don't drink often, maybe once every few months, or I don't even know when I had the last drink. But anyway, it's one of those things where it's like, oh my gosh, I want another one. So that is my favorite treat or snack or whatever, but it's a good one.
Nathan, are you back with us, bud?
I want to apologize for all the technical
I
issues.
see Anthony. I don't see Nathan.
He's
I
here.
can see Anthony. Okay.
I think he's having technical difficulties still.
Okay, that's cool.
NFL.
Three of us back.
Yeah, his tablet fell. It was on a table, so I think it fell. So,
So, who was the last person to give you?
Who was the last person to give me advice about what?
hang on. Let me try it, Nate. Who was the last person to give you advice on your wrestling skills? What advice was it, and do you still follow that
On my
advice?
On my wrestling skills, you said?
Yes.
You know what? I did, other than Mondo, because at the time of doing wrestling, the only other influence really, well, during that time, I have a friend that used to do bodyguarding. And so like when I would go to the LA sports arena to watch like Hulk and Andre and Dino Bravo and that whole group, he used to be there. The only other one that really I talked to would have been like Dino Bravo. This was prior to him passing, but Dino Bravo, and wrestling wise, when I was still doing, at the time of Glow. Other than that, I would have been the girls that were wrestlers prior to Glow, and we had a few. So that would have been Matilda. So, and I started the show with Matilda and then in the pilot series we had Jasmine and Charlie Haynes, and Jasmine were Salt and Pepper, and so they were. So Dallas was Killer Tomato, Debbie Miller, and so those four are the ones that while we were doing Glow, fortunately we had some female wrestlers in the show already, so we would get tips from them and kind of follow suit because they were already experienced. They were wrestlers before Glow. So if anything, I would say them. I really didn't have contact with any professional female wrestlers prior to Glow because, again, I wasn't a Glow fan prior to Glow. So my whole way of coming to Glow was because I was an actress and an entertainer pursuing that this kind of just fell in my lap, and I wish I had been involved. Now, I mean, hindsight, it's so exciting and I love it so much that I feel like I was cheated, like I missed out, right? Like for those, like for example, Sunny's been involved in wrestling since she was a kid because her dad was involved, and I know she had a lot of involvement as a child, as a young kid. She was into the wrestling, and a lot of the girls that I do know today have had a lot of experience or was able to be a fan and watch it. It just wasn't something that I grew up with. It wasn't one of the sports. I was a 3-sport, basketball, baseball, football kind of family, and then I went into racquetball and bowling and that kind of stuff, but never wrestling. And so now that I like it so much, and it's been, a continued hobby, industry, career that I've been blessed with, it's kind of a bummer that I missed 20 something years. Well, because I was 20 when my 20s when I did glow, but like my younger part of my childhood, I was not a wrestling fan, so that's kind of a bummer. But I get to see all the WWF superstars that and get to see the videos and all that kinds of stuff, but I just didn't participate in it live.
Right. So this next question we have, like you, our co-host is a huge Dodger fan. So it's an honor for him to ask you this question. So go ahead, Pat.
Growing up in LA, I heard that you are a Dodgers fan. Who was your favorite Dodgers manager and player?
He's a huge Dodger fan, and he wants to know who my favorite player is.
And manager.
Is that what he said?
And manager.
Well, I was born a Dodger fan. I lived in Chavez Ravine, so Dodger Stadium was my backyard. So as a kid, I walked to Dodger games just down my street and up the driveway. And our entire life evolved around the Dodger schedule, because the street that goes up and through the little neighborhood there, it's called Solano Avenue. I lived on Amador. There were two streets, Amador and Solano Avenue. And that drove right through the little town, little neighborhood, and right up through by the police academy, LAPD's police academy. But the driveway, we literally would walk to the games. And Dodger Stadium was built in 1961, or 62, and I was born in 1963. And my grandfather was friends with Walter O'Malley. One of my uncles was a ball boy for the Dodgers, and I belonged to the Dodger Pepsi fan club back in the day. There was such a thing, and fun little free things, and they had like the freebies they have now, but just a little bit on a lower schedule, smaller scale. But so I grew up. Of course, Tommy Lasorda was or is, my favorite manager, and in the Ron Say, Steve Garvey, Dusty Baker. Those are my Dodger. Just Steve Yeager and Mike Piazza. And now I would say I like Mookie. I like. Now it's hard. I like them all. Hard to pick one, but a lot of cuties. There's a lot of they're just so young. And one of my son's friends was on the Dodgers on the just the past World Series team. His name was DJ Peters. So aside from all time, he actually got to play. He was brought on to the team and got to travel for the World Series, was on the team, got the pictures with the trophy and the ring and baseball with my son. They played in the same little league team and Tony Colt team. And so I got to see him recently. He got traded from the Dodgers to the Texas Rangers, and I got to go see him at an Angel game, and he came to the side of the field and, said hello and everything, and was calling me mom, because he always called me mom. He always texts me or calls. He always does that. And the team mom. But I told him at the age of, his little league days that just keep doing what you're doing, because he would hit home run after home run over the fence. And he was 6'7" back then, And so I told him, you're going to make it one day. You'll make it to the big leagues. And then sure enough, he did. And he was he was at his debut. Was it last year or the year before? The year before, I think, on my birthday. We were watching pretty exciting, but so Dodger, it's hard for me to pick one, but I call my group that, the Ron Say, Steve Gard, that whole team was just like one of the best teams. And then now just everybody is on the, we got Freeman now, and just, it's really exciting. I'm waiting to get to a game. So then I'll go to a game and I'll take some video and wave to you from the game. Like I said, I took Sam last year, and I normally sit on the Dodgers side. And this time, because I thought, well, let me get tickets on the Mets dugout, so that we were right behind the Mets dugout, and we were so close that there were, like, I don't know how many foul balls towards first base, and we were like, dodging balls or trying to catch balls, and so it was really a good day. But I normally sit on the other side, but that particular game we did sit on the Mets side, so he could cheer for his Mets at my Dodger game.
Yeah.
So I have lots of great memories there. Dodger Stadium is like my baseball home, and I still have a Yankee. I have a Yankee fan. My friend Sal in the NYC, he calls me every Friday, and now that it's baseball season, we'll be talking more. But he calls me on his way on the train to work in the early morning and leaves me my voicemail. And now that it's baseball season, we're like, that's my rival team, right? The Dodgers, and I never liked the Yankees, but he's a big Yankee fan, so we're baseball buddies. So I'm excited that baseball season is here.
Yeah.
So,
So
I'm glad you're a Dodger fan.
Thank you. The two that you mentioned were also my two favorites. Piazza and Lasorda.
You said the two I mentioned, Tommy Lasorda and what?
Mike Piazza. They were also two of my favorites.
Oh, really? Okay. I was bummed when Mike Piazza left the Dodgers, but they get traded or they leave because they're ready to go and whatever. But yeah, he was one of my favorites.
Yeah. Well, for me,
and Tommy Lasorda, it's funny.
But for me, unfortunately, I'm the other way around. You stole my Freddie Freeman away from my team.
I didn't hear the whole thing, Freddie.
I'm a big Braves fan, and I still feel you all stole Freddie away from us.
Can you guys hear me?
I'm not a Braves fan at all. I know that was a bad move, and I know the Braves really didn't like that one, but too bad for them. So glad for us. It's one of those things where it happens. It was not a happy day. I know that. Braves fans were definitely not happy about that. And I'm a big Laker fan too, and so I'm glad that our Lakers are today. The game's tomorrow.
Another
Today's
team
Tuesday,
that we have in
so
common.
they play again tomorrow. So yes.
Hang on. Hey, Nate, are you back? Nathan.
Can you hear me, Pat?
I can hear you, Nathan.
So those are my teams. I'm an LA girl, but my football team are the Saints.
I can hear you, Nathan.
Good old
I
New
don't know
Orleans.
if Tony or hear me, but
I can hear you, Nathan, barely. Okay, so do you want to try doing the next question, Nathan?
Is he back or no? I couldn't hear him.
I don't know. So was it hard? Was it hard to go from acting to training the new Glow Girls?
No, it wasn't hard. I would say we had a great group of girls in season one that I just had a lot of fun training them. But I think the more difficult thing is just the schedule. We had such a grueling schedule with having to train all the girls and then work individually with them on their individual matches. And then we also had to do our own matches, of course. And then we had to meet with the director and the producer and the writers and all of that for the production side to make sure, you know, we gave them the feedback on which girls were doing well, which girls needed some more work. They'd ask, okay, which girls are now able to do a singles match versus a tag team? Are they ready for a singles match? Working with the crew to, you know, what kind of things were going to happen, you know, during a particular show. So I got to work with, you know, all the girls, and then the director, the producer, the writer, the crew, the camera guy, all of that to come up with the end result. Because a lot of people thought that when we filmed the shows, if they didn't come in person, they thought it was kind of like a action, film, cut, action, film, cut, you know, that kind of thing, where it was not. It's the kind of show that you see if you go to a live WWF show. It's a full show from beginning to end. And then because ours was for a series, and back then, you know, we didn't have the technologies they have today. So they did go into the studio and then they would, you know, cut and put the pieces together the way they wanted. At the very beginning, we did have to go in and we did some voiceovers on certain things, or if they wanted to add some dialogue, then we went and did that. But we didn't have the liberty to, you know, cut and do it over again or what have you. So, you know, it was just the way it was. And things are so different today. I mean, here we are 37 years later, and think about all the technology with filming and cameras and, you know, just the rings and just everything that you can do that is so neat, you know. And it's neat being able to go to shows now and see, like Impact was really fun. I had a ball at that, just being able to see. I mean, I've been going to WOW, you know, WOW with David McLean. He does WOW now, and they're on here in LA. They're on KCAL 9, but they're on TV on Saturday nights. And so I've gone to most of those. I go with, you know, a few of the girls, Juan, and I get a bunch of fans together, and we'll go film, and we support WOW, you know, get them to go see what it's like to be at a live TV and things like that. So it's pretty exciting to be able to see the way it's developed into the industry the way it is today, and how things are done. So it's exciting. That's why I'm still involved, because I'm always still in awe. I love to watch the girls, you know, I mean, all wrestling in general, but fascinated with WOW. WOW is just great. I love seeing all the girls, and of course I'm a fan of the Island Girls, so I love the Tonga Twins and Chiki and Leia Makoa and all the girls. We got the best attorney is Sofia Lopez, and all the girls that she brings in, the Latin American girls, and just everybody. They're all so good. There's so many. So it's nice to see that David's still, you know, doing what he wanted to do 37 years ago, which was bring pretty girls to wrestling, you know, and put them on TV. So he did get what he wanted and accomplish that. And here it is 37 years later, and he's still doing that. So pretty exciting.
We have seen Netflix has renamed Glow. What do you think of the remake? And did they ask you for any advice on it?
Did you say they renamed it?
Yes.
Remade it.
They remade it. They remade.
I don't know what you mean by rename.
You know, for the glow.
Oh, made it. Okay, I'm sorry. You know, we were excited when we heard that. We were excited because it was like, oh my gosh, someone's making a show called Glow, and it's our story. It's about us, and we were excited. And then when we found out, oh, bummer, it's not going to include any of us. There's only one girl that made any money from it. There was approximately 74 Glow girls in total, and not one girl made a penny except for one girl, and that was Ursula Hayden, Babe the Farmer's Daughter. And it's unfortunate that no other girl was included. I always talk when people ask us about it. I say, if it were me, Royal Hawaiian, April Hom, I would have had that in ink, and I would have had them write in the contract that I demand 30 cameos. I want original Glow Girls. They don't have to play a wrestler, but they need to be in the show. And none of us were consulted. So I mean, I was one of the first trainers with Americana. We were not consulted. Nobody was asked anything about the story in any way, shape, or form. So nobody was, included in that but her. And we haven't talked about it for many, many years, as far as why our original show ended. And that is in part because of her and the quote Hollywood story we say, on how she obtained the name Glow and how she made all the money on Netflix Glow. And it's been, swept under the rug for many years. And I was not with Glow at the time that the show ended. So I did not know a lot of what had happened. So everything I know or that I can speak of today comes from the girls who were currently working in the show back in 1989 in season 3 and 4, and then that have knowledge of what took place. And so it's not a happy story how it happened. However, there is a reason why some of those girls were not excited about when Netflix came out, because the background of that was not good. However, I didn't know any of that background stuff. So to me, I was excited because, hey, it's a show about us. Okay, it's loosely based on our show or our story, but the characters are not us because they didn't want to pay for them. Ursula asked us to sign a waiver and sign our rights away to our character for not a penny. I don't think so. They didn't want to pay us a dime. They wanted us to sign a release and give them the rights to our characters so they could be included in Netflix Glow. Sorry, I developed that character. I created that character. You want me to give it to you for nothing? And I'm not included in this show, but you want to take my character. So, no. That's why when you see Netflix Glow, you see Britannia, and she's a combination of Godiva with Zelda the Brain. They took two of our characters and they made one. That's why you'll see you have Machu Picchu, who is a similar version of our Mount Fiji. You have Goya, our Nanuchka, who the story is based on. You have a Liberty Bell, who is our Americana. It's not out there with our names, our character names, but those were the characters that were in our original show. So those that watched our show originally know what's going on. They understand it. But we have a lot of fans today by way of Netflix who see, like, I'll be out at a show or an event and they see the Glow logo and then they see us and they're like, oh, who are you guys? They don't recognize us because we're not the actresses on the show. And we're like, oh, no, we're the OG girls. And they're like, the OG girls? What is that? Like, we're the original Glow girls. And they're like, what do you mean? Like, we're the girls that this show was written about. And they're like, there was actually a show? They don't even know that, because they're millennials or they're people maybe that were around back in the 80s, but just weren't aware of Glow. And maybe they were like me and were not a wrestling fan, so they didn't have any knowledge of what Glow was. So then they say, oh my God, you're kidding. There's a show that was originally back in the 80s, and that's why it's all colorful in the 80s. Yeah, that's why, because our show is in the 80s and that show was about us, and they're just fascinated, right? So then they hear that and they go, wow. So it was a mixed kind of feeling between the girls, and some of the girls didn't really talk well about it at the beginning, but then I think as we saw it, then pardon?
Now I can see you, but
Sorry, I was trying to work technical difficulties out with Nathan. Go ahead,
No problem.
Nathan.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay,
How many Glow girls
there we go.
have you still talked to today?
Yeah, I talked to quite a bit. I talked to, I mean, I could ramble them. I'm really, I do a lot of stuff right now with Roxy Astor, Sunny the California Girl. I just did a show with Daisy. She's my buddy. I talked to Original California Doll, who was from the pilot only. Haven't talked to her in a while, but we stay in touch. Jungle Woman Annette is one of my football buddies. I just got to see Tina Ferrari, who is Ivory. She came to visit at WrestleCon, so I got to see her just recently, which was so great because it was like a flashback to 37 years ago. I've talked to her since, but I got to see her this time. And I see Ashley. So periodically, Ashley, she lives in Arizona, and so I see her. Little Feather. I talk with Beastie and Gremlina and Dallas and Chainsaw and Spike, Tulsa, Corporal Kelly, original Corporal Kelly, who was in my season. She's I've been trying to get her to do something with me, but that hasn't happened yet. She's a animal activist. She has a rescue in Utah, and she does a lot of wonderful stuff with animals, as well as Tina Ferrari does. Lisa Ivory in up in Seattle. She's up by you guys in the Pacific Northwest. She lives on an island somewhere up there, and so. But Corporal Kelly too. Also, I haven't seen her for a while, but see her. So a good amount of the girls, is just. I know I'm probably forgetting a bunch, but I do, pretty much. Or Palestine. All the girls in Vegas. Nanuchka. I have been able to get her out a little bit. She was hard to get out, but a very popular fan. The fans wanted to see her for a while, and I worked on her for many years and finally got her to do a radio interview, and then I got her in the studio to go on with Aaron Phillips and Thoughts Count Anywhere and the guys up in Vegas, and brought her in for a show there. And then she did a convention with me. Actually, she did 2 conventions with me, and so that was exciting because the fans love her. Susie Spirit is also in Vegas, and she is just one of our successful Glow girls. She's an attorney. She's an entertainment attorney and a college professor, and she has, I guess, a few nonprofits that she works with and stuff. And then also in Vegas is California Doll and Amy the Farmer's Daughter. I did say Palestina. I speak with Angelina. So Angelina is a Little Egypt. She's here in California. And who else is in Vegas? I think that's most of them in Vegas. So yeah, so there's still quite a few. Unfortunately, last year, we lost a couple more. So we did lose Babe the Farmer's Daughter, and then we lost earlier in the year with Matilda the Hun and Angel. So that was very sad. We had a combined memorial for them, and then of course we did lose Sally the Farmer's Daughter. She was one of my sweethearts. But so yeah, so it's been sad because we're getting up there in age, so I'm blessed. I'll be 60 next Tuesday, God willing. So keep your prayers and hope that like I said, people ask how long will I do this, and I said as long as you guys still have an interest in having me do interviews and go on shows and such. But like I said, so I am doing a couple shows. Do you want me to tell you where I'm going to be?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so Sunday, I'm having a small dinner celebration for my birthday. I really have a big party, but I decided against that. So Sunday's kind of busy for me. And then Monday, the 24th of April, I will be at VWC, which is Valley Wrestling Connection. And the show is Monday Night Mayhem in Marietta, California. So it's about an hour north of San Diego. And this one, the main event will be Brian Kendrick and WWE star Brian Kendrick, and one of our local guys here, Brandon Gatson. He's a great wrestler. So that's the main event. So we'll be celebrating my birthday that day. So if you guys want to come out, that's going to be my birthday celebration at the wrestling event there. And I will be there doing a meet and greet and selling merch and having a good time with all the wrestling fans there.
Yeah.
And my birthday is Tuesday, the 25th. And then I'll have a day off on Wednesday. And then Thursday, I will be with the Santino brothers. And theirs is Fight Night 7. And that one is going to be right here to me in Azusa, California. And that one, I believe it's a vet hall, I believe. It's on First Street in Azusa. And that one's actually a late show. The one on Monday is, I think, the doors open at 4. The show's at 5 in Marietta. And then the one in Azusa is doors open at 8, and I believe the show is at 8:30, and that is with Sylvia and Joey Munoz with the Santino brothers. So that I'll be there Thursday, and then I have a couple days off, and then on the 30th of April, I believe it's a Sunday, and that one I'm going to be down in Hawaiian Gardens with UWC, that's the United Wrestling Council, and that's who I was with at WrestleCon. So they brought me to WrestleCon with them, and that event is on Sunday, and I believe that's Hawaiian Gardens at the Metroplex. So if you guys are interested in coming out at all next week, I will be at those 3 different events. And then cross country, I don't know. I was going to start to do, I had some stuff scheduled for June and July, but I'm kind of having to take a little bit of a break. I don't know. I'm going to be working on the book a little bit. Like I said, I'm trying to do my autobiography, and I've got a couple other things in the works. So I might be. I was going to do a tour, start some out of state touring, but we don't know for sure yet. So just check my Facebook and my Instagram when I post. You guys know I post on my schedule and where I'm going to be. So just check that out, and hopefully I can see you or come to a city near you. You know, I haven't been up to the Pacific Northwest since then, so who knows? Maybe sometime soon. We'll see. That's an easier place for me to get to than having to go cross country, but so far nothing. So we'll see.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. Because I think I did that when I was up that way. I did do a small meet and greet with a few fans. It was myself and Chainsaw. So I did get together with Chainsaw. She lives in Beaverton. And I forget where her sister lives. Somewhere up there too, but I'm not sure what the city is. And so I actually got together with Chainsaw, and we met a few fans up in Beaverton. We did a small little meet and greet. So we haven't done anything since in that area. So that would be something that would be kind of cool is to get back in that area.
Well, here, I'll just throw this out here. The host and the co-host are both Special Olympics Washington athletes.
Say that again?
Hang on. I've got Nathan on the phone, so I'm getting an echo. So let's try this again. They are both Special Olympics Washington athletes. Hang on. Hey, Nathan. Back out of the room so I don't get static, and I'll just put you on the phone with us, okay? All right, hang on. Oh.
Is this light thing washed out?
Hold on, let's try this. Okay. So, as I was saying, both Pat and Nathan are Special Olympics athletes in Washington. And it would, they like bringing up celebrities and stuff like that. So maybe that could be maybe something we could work into trying to find out.
Oh, I'd be happy to do something like that. You're saying coming up to that area for some kind of event?
Yeah.
Like we do. I try and get because we do a lot of charity work, and I do try and get the girls that I can rally together. If we can do any kind of event, like Roxy is into helping out with all the animal shelters and the dogs. She's a real advocate for that. I do a lot of suicide prevention. I'm an activist for suicide prevention and whatever, cause or charity events and things like that. We try to do every so often when we can. But for sure, I mean, I have a son that's a quadriplegic, so I'm experienced in dealing with, an individual who has disabilities. And he was not, he was an athlete prior to his accident. So he became a quadriplegic as a result of a diving accident each. So I took care of him for many years, and he's a very successful, he went to USC, graduated with his accounting degree, and went into law school. And I was the page turner, getting him through law school all hours of the night, trying to study for my book. And he became an attorney and is, a motivational speaker and a very successful guy. But so I'm always, up for, doing whatever I can to help support and promote whatever cause, a fan or friend or family member might have that, I could lend a hand and get some attention. I also do a radio show, like I said, in East LA. So, if there's any kind of event that needs, some attention or advertising, or you have a topic that you'd like seen talked about, or, have a segment on something like that, I'm always up for that. So definitely let me know, and maybe we can try and see when your next event or what have you might be, and I might be able to come up and, who knows, maybe bring a glow girl or two with me, something like that.
Well, both the guys are in athlete leadership and are pretty successful in everything that they do. So I'll have them
That's awesome.
Bring up some stuff and see what we can do to have you girls come up.
Sounds good for sure. Because my son was an athlete. He was an all-around athlete, football, basketball, baseball, and he was a star quarterback on Glendora's high school football team. He was a varsity quarterback as a freshman and sophomore, and then his that year he had a diving accident. He was already being scouted by all the Pac-10 schools, USC, UCLA, Stanford, Oregon, all of them, and then he had his accident and became a quadriplegic. So he, had to change his direction and focus on doing something else, since he was not able to, fulfill the athletic part. But yeah, so whatever you guys have, just let me know. Reach out and let me know, and give me some idea on when, and I can try and see what I can do.
Absolutely. We would love to do that. So let's just go with the...
Sure.
Okay. Are you back in the room, Nathan? Okay. We still can't hear you in the room. So I'm going to turn this down a little bit. So let's just do a couple more questions real quick. Seems how we're an hour and 34 minutes into this. So
no problem.
I'll just ask, can you give us your thoughts on the women's division in wrestling today?
I think it's fabulous. I think it's come a long way. I think it has a long way still to go. Um, I think just women in general, I mean, they need to be, I mean, paid more. Of course, that's always an issue. You know how that goes. They're headlining now. Women are, you know, they can do their own pay-per-view, you know. So we need to bring that pay scale up, and you know they're not getting paid anything near what the guys are getting paid. And so I'm all for that. I mean, we started this 37 years ago, and you know, today they call us the trailblazers and the legends of Glow and what have you. So it's an honor to have been a part of that. Even though my career was short-lived, it was actually something that I'm proud of. And everybody says, like I said, again, why do you still do it? This is why I do it, because it's where it is today, because those of us that started this, you know, the movement, if you will, of women being able to empower other women and support other women, and diversity overall in, you know, all walks of life. And you know, we have a large LGBTQ community who supports us and says that we were helpful in their coming out, and we appreciate their support as well as they you know appreciated what we did. So different, you know, groups, individuals, male, you know, athletes as well, just to see where it's gone and how it's evolved. So just definitely something to be proud of. And that's why people ask, would you do it again, even knowing the condition I am? Because I do suffer from, you know, 24/7 chronic pain and injuries. And it hasn't been easy, but I would still do it all over again. I'm a diabetic, so I do have, and anything I get takes me, you know, 2 and 3 times longer to get rid of than the average person. I suffer from fibromyalgia. I have carpal tunnel tendonitis. I suffer from arthritis. You know, it goes on and on. My back injuries and my sciatica are the worst. I just got recently diagnosed with cervical problems too. So they thought I was going to need neck surgery, and thank God I don't. But no more roller coasters though. I'm a roller coaster nut, but the doctor told me no more roller coasters. So that's kind of a bummer. So my roller coaster buddies are not happy about that. But so I have had significant injuries and health issues. So that's kind of something that I have to look at, but it still doesn't change my outlook on how I feel about what I did. And would I do it again? Absolutely. And proud of it. So those, you know, naysayers and whoever else wants to say, well, why do you keep doing what you do? And that's why, because people are still interested in how it became, what we're doing Afterglow. So now we are, you know, doing a lot with Afterglow. Roxy Astor came out with Afterglow, which is anything to do with Afterglow. So now that Glow is, you know, we were done back in 89. So anything we do is Afterglow. And so we've got some things going on, and hopefully it will continue because our fans have asked for that. So we do have fans all over the world that still ask for, you know, what's to come, what is there, what are you doing? So, you know, we will keep doing it until they stop asking. So
Absolutely.
but thank you guys for spending your time, even with all the Seattle weather and technical difficulties. You know, it's been fun to be able to talk to you guys, and you know, knowing that I know where you are exactly in Longview. So that's really funny.
Yeah, we talked before we came on air that she knew exactly where where the three of us lived at, and she actually lived here for like 8 months, which was kind of cool. So we actually share a common bond. But before we let you go,
so that's fun.
Yeah, Elizabeth says hi.
Elizabeth.
Yes, Gutierrez.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
Hello.
she says hi. And
How are
then,
you?
since we had technical difficulties and everything, I'll have Nathan get in touch with you, and we'll bring you back on so he can actually have the full interview with you.
No
also.
problem. Anytime. Just let me know. It was, it's been a busy week for me too. So whenever you guys feel like you want to do a part 2, we can always do that. And then maybe at that time we might have something, going on and me going up there, or who knows. So that would be fun. And then if anybody wants to get a hold of me, you can see me on Facebook under April Hom. You can go on to Instagram. I'm under Royal Hawaiian 25. Hence the 25th is my birthday. And then I don't do a lot of Twitter, but it's there. Twitter is glow_royal. There's actually 2 of them. So you can, reach out there. And then, of course, my email is aprilhom25@gmail.com. And I encourage you guys just to stay in touch with us. And that way you guys can see what we're doing and where we are. And we're always looking to, get out into your areas. And if you have any events going on and things in your area, just let us know. Send us an email. We'll see what we can do to maybe get out there.
Sounds wonderful. And again, before we let you go, Elizabeth says, Deb says hi. Deb,
Say hello. Thank you guys. Everybody have a great rest of your week. And I will see some of you this week if you come on out to some of the events. And this is 59, guys, the last 7 days of 59. So turning 60 next week on Tuesday, the 25th of April.
Yeah.
Royal
So
Hawaiian out.
Before then, if we don't see you before then, happy birthday. Bye, guys.
Thank you so much, guys. Okay, aloha.
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 Aloha. Nathan says bye.
Bye,